Don't forget to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you know when videos drop. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Peacock Minute. What are we going to be doing today?
Today, we're going to show all our viewers some behind-the-scene footage from the new Iowa PBS feature called Iowa Live. And we're in episode 102. And I'm so excited to show you our life as they portrayed us from the beginning to where we are today.
Let's go watch it.
Okay.
Is Mr. and Mrs. Peacock, or do you prefer peafowl?
Mr. and Mrs. Peacock. Mr. Peacock, what's your real name? They always call me Mr. Peacock. So that's where the hat came from. That's where it has. It's been there since probably 1998 is when I was called Mr. Peacock, I think.
Was it?
Yeah. And now that's who I am, and it's okay to call me Mr. Peacock.
When did it all begin? You know, how did the Peacock Farm come to be?
Do you want to start? Yeah.
Yes, he gave me a pig when we were dating, and we called him Charlie. So when we got married, we took a whip, and he grew to about 800 pounds, and then he died. We think he got struck by lightning, and then he said, "What do you want next?" And for some weird reason, I said, "Peacocks."
And I'm glad you didn't say elephants.
This is true.
We'd be in trouble here in Iowa, that's for
Yes,
sure.
That's true. Yep.
And then, oh, and I'm also asked too, when I say I gave you an engagement gift of a pig,
Yeah.
they said, well, didn't you give her a ring? I said, of course. No.
No. I don't.
Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, and then it started from there. And then
Yep.
I never had a pet in my life. And then all of a sudden, I was spending all my time in the
We
barn.
had one peach egg.
Yeah.
Remember, you got 3 eggs.
Got 3 eggs.
And we had one peach egg hatch. And we called it Junior. And it would sit up in the bedroom on the bedpost and cry and cry. Then I'd have to go up and play with it. Then, once he got big enough to go outside, he'd sit on my shoulders, sit on my head, anywhere I go. Then he died. We're killing off all our pets.
Yeah. And she was saying that we kind of started off with a tragic beginning, but it
Yep.
led to where we are today. And then we said, we got to get more.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know anything about them.
And there
Then
was
we
nothing.
Found out somebody had peacocks in Nebraska. So we went to Nebraska and got 5 blues. And then you liked peacocks and never saw him again. That was it.
Never, ever get tired of seeing them, watching them display. It's just like it's the first time. And then I was taking notes down while she was saying, are you coming in for supper?
Do you ever want to come to eat?
Yeah.
Do you ever? Do you exist?
And then I said, we're going to write a book, because there was no books on the subject.
Well, we didn't even know what kind. We didn't know there were different colors.
No.
We didn't know there were blues, black shoulders. Then we found out there were whites.
Yeah.
And I wanted whites.
She wanted whites. And then we found out when our first peacock, Junior, died, the vet said, oh, she had a bad heart. And I said, she? He said, yeah, it's a she. I thought, we thought it was a boy. He says, no, I hate to tell you, Junior is a girl. And I said, I got to study this. Being a teacher, I had to study everything about it, but nobody would tell us anything. So we learned firsthand.
We wrote books.
We wrote books, and I wrote down everything I could. I took
Yep.
every still shot, and that was before videography, because I was taking still shots here and still shots there of the birds, and I was just studying their behaviors, and that's where it went.
Even this all out, you couldn't just go Google peacock.
Well, no, we
It didn't exist.
didn't exist.
You couldn't
We
Google.
had to call people, and
How
so
did we find out?
there was one guy
Went to
up
sales.
to a sale in
Ricketts.
Stort, Iowa, and he was from Ricketts, Iowa,
Mhm.
and he actually sat next to me and told me these things, and he knew everything, and he actually shared with me what was going on, and we bought a couple birds from him. And then, as the years went on, we got more and more birds, and then all of a sudden, I was substituting because we were out promoting our first peacock book, which sold out our first 1,000 copies within the first month, and that was with no advertisement. We just put it out there, and they sold out, and we had enough to reprint and reprint and reprint, and we started our second book. And then one of my students, when I was substituting, when I was promoting the book, said, you need an internet page. And then we created the internet page in 1996, peafowl.com, and we were one of the first people on the internet. And then soon after that became YouTube in 2007. And so, but everything that happened with the peacock world happened before the internet world. It was just like word of mouth. It was the old-fashioned days, and in some ways, I like it better in the old days. However, with 3 million plus lifetime views on YouTube, it's a lot more views than selling books. We only sold about 30,000 copies of our book, which is pretty good for self-published. And we had it self-published in Iowa. We kept everything in the state of Iowa. And then finally, we put it in digital form on the iTunes store. Some people put them in cities, and that's not a good place. We get calls from help. There's this peacock in my backyard. What do I do? We get calls all over the world from people wanting help. We have a peacock here. Can you come rescue it? Obviously, I'm not going to Wisconsin or North Carolina like the last one. So you have to make sure peacocks are in the right spot. So assuming you have a spot, you have to have a cage that's at least 8 foot tall, and we like to have 16 by 12 by 8 foot tall. And if you live in Iowa, you have to be prepared for cold weather and out of the wind, and of course the hot and humid weather, lots of ventilation, and they do very well. I do admit that they are able to withstand the heat better than the cold, but they do well in 25 below zero temperatures, which we've experienced on this farm over the 37 years.
So you started peacock farming in Iowa. What was the reception like in the state?
I was accepting.
I was accepted.
I was good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't even think people pay attention much to what we do in Iowa. In fact, what's crazy is the majority of our book sales and our YouTube comes from California, Florida, Texas, and now North Carolina. Very few people in Iowa pay attention to what we do. And that's okay. If they want to, we're here. We took a big risk. And they said, it'll never sell. No one would ever be interested in buying a peacock book.
That's what I said.
Oh.
I said, don't be surprised if it doesn't sell.
We got
But it did.
we got a stack of box of peacock books that was 1,000 books, and she looked at me and she says, "You think they're going to sell?" I said,
so.
"Absolutely,"
They did.
and they did. They
Yep.
came out,
They did.
came out, and they were great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So may I ask what else was your jobs when it didn't pay the bills?
Well, I was a music teacher. I started off as a band teacher in South Dakota, then came to Iowa. How I met her. Her sister was my tuba player in 6th grade, and I fell in love with her at a fine arts banquet. And after that, we dated for 3 years and got married, and we're going to celebrate our 43rd anniversary in the beginning of June. And so, yeah, that's how that went.
Yeah, it was interesting. I also made jewelry. And
yeah.
we were in Guidepost magazine.
Yeah.
And we get 40 letters in the mail. We're like, what?
Yeah, the
Maybe
bill.
orders.
the-
That's the only time
Yeah.
we've gotten anything.
Yeah, and I was teaching. I
It
left
was
teaching
crazy.
for a while and then went back, and
Yeah.
I realized at some point that the book sales were going to dwindle. This was just, it's going to play itself out pretty soon. And I made a good decision. I went back to teaching. I said, hey, I got a goose that unties shoes. David Letterman was going to put us on the show, but he said he'd only pay us $50, and we'd have to get our way to New York. And I said, well, I'd like to see my family back in the East Coast, but I don't have money. We were kind of poor at this time. And so we didn't go. And then from that point on, they came out and did a story about it. And then all the local media out of Omaha, Nebraska was here. Newscast.
That was fun.
Everybody,
We did a promo for today's show.
Yeah.
And Good Morning America.
Good Morning America.
They
Local,
came out here to film.
Yeah.
Local
Yeah.
people. And
we
then-
did, yeah. Good Morning America from the Iowa Peacock Farm. And then what a difference today makes on the Iowa Peacock Farm. And then it was crazy. As we had today, we never know what's going to happen. I mean, we have all kinds of interesting things happening around here with the birds. I caught an egg, like I said on take one the first time. I peahen laid an egg and I caught it in my hand back in the early days. I mean, things happen. I'm just always open and aware of what's going on. But
you
yeah.
were on the Tonight Show.
Well, yeah, I did the
and
Tonight
game
Show.
show.
And okay. Oh, yeah, we forgot the most important thing.
What?
The first thing we did was we sang our Peacock
Oh,
song
our Peacock song on Attitude.
at night after the fair, and I woke up in the middle of the night and heard a song in my head. Now, I'm a good clarinet player. I I've taught for many years, but I'm not a songwriter. I never heard a song. My teachers in college said, you got to write a song. You got to hear it in your head. I heard this song in my head, went down, got my cassette recorder. I hummed it into the recorder. And the next morning I woke up, I said, I think I had a dream. I wrote a Peacock song. I went and got it out and I did it. And I said to her, now she's a great musician without formal training like me. And I said, can you write words to this song? She says, yeah. And the next day she had words, and it is the Wacky Peacock song.
Yep.
On one hot and sunny day, our pet pig Charlie passed away. You know this made us sad the whole day long. But now we need another pet. This must be the best one yet. That's why we wrote this Wacky Peacock song.
Yep.
And it goes on. Oh, yes, we have peacocks, lots and lots of peacocks. Junior, Whitey, Helen, and Big Bird. And then Attitudes Talk Show with Linda Dano and Dee Kelly on the Lifetime channel heard about us, invited us to New York City. We flew out from Omaha, Nebraska to LaGuardia Airport with 4 peacocks. We were on the show. We did a 7-minute segment where we talked about peacocks. We walked around the cage and we sang our peacock song. And from then on in, it was crazy. Then I got invited to be on the Animal Planet, You Lie Like a Dog, where I was the peacock expert and the guy next to me wasn't. And they were supposed to guess who the expert was, I think. I've been pitching the Tonight Show since Johnny Carson, and it never got any bites. And I said I got this student who can circular breathe. They got her on the Tonight Show. So she went to Hollywood, and they were supposed to take me there, and they didn't. He said, I'll get you on the Tonight Show. So 4 years later, I got a call to say, can you play Jingle Bells on your clarinet in 28 seconds and take it apart where I have a disappearing clarinet? I said, yeah. And they flew me out, and I did it. And we were supposed to, I talked about peacocks. They cut it out during the show. I didn't even know it. I called her up. Did you see me? Did you see me? She says, yes. How come you didn't talk about peacocks? I said I did. They weren't there.
So you've done other things on YouTube too. It's not just the birds, right?
Yeah. You better talk about this because this is your project and I think it's fantastic.
Well, I've lived in Iowa forever because that's where I was born. And I got to thinking, I haven't seen any attractions. We didn't travel as kids because we were too poor. And I'm like, I want to see this stuff. I want to see what's around Iowa. I did research, and the stuff is amazing. The things you can see in Iowa, that just like in a small town, you can see a car made into a spider. It's just amazing. So I said, let's do a travel series. And so we called it Hidden Treasures.
New York City, worked in New York City as a high school kid. And I never thought in my dreams that I'd even have 5 feet of grass, let alone 4 acres of what we have here. And every day I walk on this place, I thank the good Lord. I said, man, this is our place. And it's here. And it's just like, I'm so thankful. Even when I was teaching, working full time, and I wasn't here all the time, on the weekends and summers, it was just fantastic. I'd see here. And I don't know. I've changed in the last 6 years in retirement, but I was this way before retirement, is when I'm out with the birds, I'm always watching what they're doing and feel like I'm 40. I'm blessed with perfect health. She always laughs at me. I don't have any, I get a little pain
I have a
here.
sore knee. How's your perfect health?
But no, I haven't had the doctor or anything. I've been pretty in good shape and haven't seen doctors. I eat healthy. We do everything that we're supposed to do.
We just plan on same thing.
Yeah, My goal is to continue to watch videos to see what I haven't ever done before, or repackage what I've done in the past that maybe could be better, and then I'd like to write a This Is My Life story. We produced a video for us. I did This Is Your Life, Deborah Buck, and This Is Like for when we're done.
You've just seen some video extras from Iowa PBS's new magazine called Iowa Life. And boy, we're very honored to be a part of that series.
Yes, we are.
I would like to thank Patrick, our photographer, producer, along with his 2 interns, Joshua and Sarah, for doing a fantastic job. The best ever done on our Peacock Farm since 1980.
Yes, it was fun.
Well, Mrs. Peacock, I think that's it. Do you have anything else to say?
So until next time. on a Peacock Minute. We'll say,
See you later. Order the Wacky World of Peafowl books at peafowl.com.